Ladies and gentlemen, today is February 11th, 2012. And it just so happens that today is, in fact, the Knkl Show, episode 30. I am your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today we are going to be doing a tutorial on clothing and folds. But before we get into that, I would like to talk about the Facebook, as usual. Yes. So, for those of you who have been submitting your work as usual, wanted to say thank you, the usual awesome submissions and amazing artwork being uploaded, but I also wanted to say thank you for all of those of you who have been commenting on other people's questions, taking it upon yourself to help out other artists, and that just seriously makes my day that you guys are willing to help each other like that. So I encourage that behavior, and if I had candy to give you, I would send it your way. Moving on to the Twitter. For those of you who are not following me yet, please follow. That way I can bug you when I am recording and when you can expect these new episodes to be going live. And finally, I would like to talk about a very special artist. Yes, that's right, my good friend and co-worker, Larry Ray, aka the Bravo Ray, on DeviantArt. So I've been getting a lot of questions as to how I design these champions in the splash screens, and I cannot take credit for that because it is people like Larry that have been putting together these awesome designs such as Redeemed Riven, Bloodlord Vladimir, Iron Scale Shivana, Guchin Sona, and of course Undertaker York. He's done a lot of other awesome ones, but these are my personal favorites. So yes, I do not actually concept all of the champions and skins. Most of the time, they just give me the finished product, and it's my job to put it into a setting and pretty much make an advertisement out of it. So, if you dig Larry's stuff, I'm going to have the link down in the comments below. You should make sure to check him out. And with all that out of the way, we will move into our tutorial. So let us pull that up. Clothing and folds. Clothing and folds, yes. Alright. So as you can see, right here, I've already put together our little mannequins that we will be using today. And we will get this tutorial underway. So, first thing we're going to do is create another layer over top, and let's get us a nice darker color to go over top of this. So, we will begin with a simple shirt and jeans, and then we'll move into like some more kind of advanced clothing and folds. So, to begin drawing, all you want to do is say, let's do a long sleeve shirt. So you'll have the collar here, right? And then the shirt will kind of come down to here, and the jeans will be down here. Okay, so first thing you want to do is start thinking about where the clothing is going to be like pinched and like how gravity is going to be affecting it. So, for example, the shirt is, you know, made like this, right? And it's kind of like in this shape. Whoop. Kind of in that shape, right? But since this arm is coming down like this, it's going to pinch this fabric. So here is a pinch point right here, right? Another pinch point is going to be up here because, see, now it's almost the opposite. Because the arm is being raised up this way, the fabric is going to pinch like this, right? So that's kind of the basic rule number one. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see this clearer. So you'll be coming down to the shoulder, right? And not only is there a pinch point of fabric here, right? But also the fabric is going to be falling downward because of gravity, because it's resting on top of something. So your lines are going to be going down this way. And you'll have folds that follow this line. That's kind of the most important part when you're starting to draw folds. Is think about wherever the fabric is tight against the skin, oftentimes it will just be smooth. And then as it gets pinched, it will create those folds and the pinch points. And then as it falls off of where it's pretty much right against the skin, it will create sort of falling lines and folds like that. Now see right here, this line cannot continue because there's actually another pinch point here, right? So throw that in, and then also the lines will continue downward like that. And then here's the end of that. And think of it like this. Okay, so this fold right here goes up and then kind of curls around. Same here. So it goes up and then down and then up again. That one curls around, right? So this is kind of like a shadow right there. And you can make the contrast of the folds as contrasty as you want, or you can soften them. Usually for me, I usually try to keep it very simple. I usually don't try to draw too many folds. It's mostly just the basic guideline, just to show basically what's going on. So you got a pinch point here, and it drops down. So that's kind of the basic way to do it. You want to think about what's going on with not only gravity, but the pinching of the fabric. So now we're going to basically show you the opposite of that. What happens when the arm is raised up? So what's happening here is the sleeve is going to come out all the way to the wrist, obviously, right? But you have this part, this is sort of like a pulling line. Like the pinch point is almost like opposite. So here is your pinch point here. And then you have this fabric being stretched because you've raised your arm. So it'll kind of push out this way. And it will be flush against this skin here. And then as it comes out further here, the gravity will kind of drag it back downward. So like that. And now what you want to do is, because these folds are happening up top, it's not just going to be like a straight line with those lines coming out of it, obviously. Like the fabric has density and volume, so you want to show that. So this fold will actually pop up a little bit, go down, another fold will kind of pop it off there, like that, see? And then it'll also kind of like pull a little bit from the chest area too. So you can see that, right? That makes it nice and easy to remember. A little bit of density here, a little bit of that there. So there you have a shirt. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about is when you go to put the folds around the chest area on the girl, you don't necessarily like draw these things and then like I used to do this all the time. Like I used to draw these lines in here and then just like do this thing. And how do I put this? It just doesn't work like that. It's not like vacuum sealed onto the lady parts there. We don't want to do that. Unless it's a wet t-shirt or something. But usually I'm not drawing that. And I say usually I say that word very loosely. So the way that it actually works is you want to think of it as sort of like a triangle shape. So as you're coming down from the chest, you're going to hit this edge here, right? And then it's going to kind of curve, the fabric is going to kind of curve underneath the breasts. And that is where a shadow will be formed, like that, right? Yes, yes. And then think about, remember, where the fabric lies on top, it will be more like it will be making contact with the skin, so there won't be any folds in this area, right? But as it falls down, the fabric will start to create folds like this, because the gravity is pulling it downward. So like that, like that. And then it'll affect the bottom of the shirt very, very, very lightly, I guess you could say. Very loosely. And then you can kind of color this in. You can get rid of, I just grabbed a white and now I'm just kind of painting in, or painting over the body lines underneath it so I can more clearly illustrate this point. So you want to get rid of those lines because, remember, it's not vacuum sealed. The shirt is not vacuum sealed. So you can see there. So that is a little bit better of a way to draw how a shirt reacts when it's on top of a lady's chest. So now we're going to move on to jeans. Jeans is another tough one because I'll tell you basically where I used to struggle with it, and hopefully I can shed some light on things that have helped me to figure it out. So when you're drawing jeans, let's get rid of this. Let's actually just take this up here. Let's say the jeans are here, right? And let's say that these are, we'll do like kind of skin tight jeans, and then we'll do like some baggy ones too, so I can show you the differences. So skin tight jeans, you know, they'll come down pinch point here at the knee. You know, there will be some little folds here and there. But overall, it's pretty much like a right on the leg. Most important part is when you get to the crotch, actually. This is a very important place to render your folds properly, because if you just kind of follow this leg line and like do that, you know, like these are pinch points right here, right? But yeah, the way that jeans work is they shouldn't do that. It looks a little weird. It looks like they're too tight or something, or like got a wedgie going on. So to avoid that, all you have to do is take that crotch line and instead think of these jeans as being almost like short shorts, like this, right? They're really, really short shorts like that. And then the folds are kind of going to go down this way, kind of go down like that, as if they're following the ellipse of the leg. You see as it goes down, like if these were cylinders and they're going down, think of that curve as following the ellipse of the leg. And that is how you will draw just a quick little fold for your jeans, like that, right? And then it can kind of do this thing. It kind of goes up. But the point is that this line that goes across, there's not a lot of like ups and downs. There's not a lot of like, if that makes sense. It should almost be like a straight plane from hip to hip all the way down to the crotch. And then the jeans kind of come together like that, right? So then you kind of draw this up, draw that there, and then the little button thing goes around, belt loops. You know, that's all just extra stuff. And then the pockets just kind of go down like that. And then you can erase these little hip lines just to show you exactly what's going on here. So, and then what happens is this shadow right here, this is the inside of the jean. So now you can see basically how that works. So now it doesn't look like they're like skin tight against the crotch. They actually look like, you know, proper jeans. And but that can change also when you lift your leg, and I'm going to show that in a little bit too. But the easiest way to render jeans is just put that line right across, and then just draw the jeans on top of that. And then you got your pinch lines coming down here. Again, remember the knee is going to be making contact with that fabric, so there's not going to be a lot of folds here. But on the back, there will be slight folds. And then from the contact point, that almost sounded bad. Going down, you'll see that the gravity will take it, and then it will sort of like, you can kind of play around with like little flow lines of how the fabric is going to be affected, and it will bunch up at the ankle. So like that. And then kind of get rid of a few of those lines there. See, so that's kind of showing how it bunches up. And then you can just grab the white and kind of get rid of that, so I can show you exactly what the jeans would look like over top of that. See, so you got this here. You can have a little bit of that. You know, it's kind of going this way and that way. And always feel free to like vary up the folds when they're kind of bunching up at the bottom, because they'll just kind of like, think of it as like an ooze, kind of just like laying on top of each other. And it can be fairly random. And then from the knee, yeah, it just kind of goes down a little bit. So yes, and then like the shadows would be there, and there, and there. So you zoom out. Now you can see we have clothes on our woman. How about that? So now I will draw as well. I said I would do baggy jeans. So let me draw some more like exaggerated baggy jeans. I'll show you exactly how to do that. So let's say our cute little girl is now a tomboy that likes to wear these super baggy jeans from the 90s. And I will show you how to do that. So same thing again. You're going to have these big lines, right? But they're not going to hug the skin quite as much. Have these huge lines that come down, right? And they'll go like that and go up. Now the line that goes here, again, it'll just be more exaggerated. Overall, it's just a line across. But we'll follow these lines down like this. And say that these are going to bunch up down here. Hitting the knee there, and then the gravity will take it down. And then it will bunch up down here. Kind of like go back and forth a little bit, and then figure out where you want your folds to actually lay. So let's say fold there, fold over here. I'm going to grab some white, show you what I'm doing here. Shade that in. So that is basically what it looks like when you have really, really baggy jeans on. And you can continue just adding folds and folds and folds. But you'll notice, like, see how these things just kind of come down? And then notice how, like, this fold kind of cuts through, like, in here. Like, it goes down like that, and it goes there, and then, you know, it can even come down like that. Folds all kind of tend to just kind of stick together. And there's always kind of like a line or a jagged line that goes through it most of the time. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. And always remember to watch the depth of your folds. Never make it just a shape, like this is a pant leg, and okay, there's a fold, and there's a fold, right? You got to think of it like this. Like this has depth, that has depth. This is going out, this is coming in, that's going out, that's going in, like that. That's what will create a more, how to put it, a more believable fold for you. And yeah, most of it is all just, it's all mostly just going to be practicing, as well as getting references also always going to help you out. So never be afraid to consult some actual real life reference of some folds. Especially if you're doing like a big like drape or like a robe or something, you want to see how something like really flows and get those natural lines from, you know, like the waist to the arm. Never be afraid to do that. So that's a good way to show you, yeah, some more skin tight jeans. So now the last thing I want to talk about is rendering these folds in a 3D space, and an easy way to remember to do that. So for that, we'll consult the lovely lady on the right, and I'll show you an easy way to remember how to render folds in said 3D space. So the first thing you're going to want to do is think about your ellipses. Think about the circles of the cylinders that make up your body. So like, what I mean by that is take the shoulder, for example. The shoulder is going to, if it were a cylinder, it would be going down like this, right? So that's half the battle. Once you can figure out where the ellipses are sitting inside of the skin, you can start to draw on your folds. So think of it here. Pinch point right here, right? And that ellipse is going to follow around. The fabric is hitting the shoulder here, so there won't be as much of a fold there. Another pinch point as we go down. Oh, laggy. What's up with that? All right, there we go. Pinch point going down, right? Pinch point here, right? So ellipses going this way, going that way. Alrighty. See, and then say, okay, that's a shadow, that's a shadow, that's a shadow, that's a shadow. And you can get rid of these. These are not folds. Those are actually no, fold would go okay there. But those are just ellipses for the most part. Okay, so bam, that's out of the way. Also think about gravity, think about how it's affecting back here. But this may be pulled against the skin so tight that it would not be being affected by gravity that much. So, go back up, go around. Pinch point here, right? The ellipse is going this way, that way. Kind of going down now, right? Pinch point here. The ellipse is going this way. So you see how easy that is? That's not so hard, is it? Then, pinch point right here. So, it'll be getting pulled from here, here, and here. And remember, these folds will be affected up here. Very slightly. Very slightly. Throw it in there. Shadow here, shadow there. So now you can see, basically, our folds coming together. And you can go back and you can kind of erase them a little bit. Like, say you want it to be a little bit more skin tight there. Take away the folds. It'll convey how tight the fabric is on the skin. So now, also what you're doing is, okay, so think of the shirt coming down here like this, obviously, right? But it's not gonna just sit there like that, right? You've got pinching going on here. You've got a lot of fabric kind of bunched up underneath the arms. So as it comes down, it'll sort of like radiate outward, like that. And then these folds will go through like this. Another easy way to think about how folds are affecting down here specifically, like these little shapes, is think of it like this. You could draw a line like this, right? Just a squiggly line. But then what you're doing is you're adding perspective to it. Think a line there, line there, line there, and then underneath, line there, line there. And this kind of comes in handy when you're drawing like little maid uniforms or like little petticoats, how they do the little squiggly thing and then the lines go up. But that's basically illustrating what's happening with when the folds kind of come down like that and the fabric hangs. So yes, always be thinking about that. I'll kind of wipe this out. We'll have a shadow down here like that, because it's casting one. And then this is always nice. You want to throw in some like little seam lines that actually kind of shows like the side of the shirt. And oftentimes it kind of just makes it look really nice. So you can throw up a seam line up here and there. There you go. See? Adds a little bit of texture and fun to the work. And think of this, like the seam line wouldn't go straight up like that because of this fold here. It would go down and then up a little bit. So that also helps to illustrate exactly what's happening on the planes of your shirt. Draw another collar there. So now you can see, now she has a shirt, and we've calculated all the folds, the pinch points, where the fabric is on the skin and how it hangs down because of gravity. And now, for the final part of the test, the final battle, we are going to be drawing the jeans with a bent leg. Basically, show you how that works with the same principle pretty much. So, it's actually quite easy. So you want to think of the jeans coming down to the hip, right? And follow this line because it goes into the hip, goes out tiny bit for the belly, and then goes in again, out again for the hip right here, and curves around like that. So it's going to be pretty much the same as what we did last time, except all you're going to do is, remember how I said this crotch line? Don't bring it up like this and draw all the folds in there. This crotch line, since the leg is going back this way, will simply just go out like that, a line, and then the folds will just fall down like that. Very simply, like that. And then here's the middle of the jean here, and there's the thing. The button goes around like that, right? Voila! Jeans. You have jeans. Now what you're going to do is, when you lift your leg in pants, that line is actually going to hug the inner thigh area. And it's going to actually go up. And now, remember, like I said, with the ellipsis, think about this leg here. You know, if it was going in space. This is the cylinder going through. So you want to think about how those folds are going to hug the cylinder underneath and also kind of progress slowly towards here because it's pinching here and pulling. So this will cast a shadow here. I'll go like that. That will be the side seam line for the jean here. I'll go up like that. There'll be a shadow down here. Like that. Little thing here. Also remember that this fabric is also tight against the thigh, so sometimes it will actually, the folds won't continue down all the way down here because this is actually straight up against the thigh. So just a few small kind of suggestions of folds up at the top here, and where it's at, it's pretty much the strongest. And then as it goes down, it's very, skin tight here. Then you got your pinch point here. Pinch point. I like it. Pinch point there. Against the skin here, falling down with gravity. And voila, you have jeans. You have blue jeans. I am a great magician. Alrighty, so with that, zoom out. See? So now you can see how we put clothes on those girls, calculated the proper pinch points, and the places where it sits on the skin and gravity kind of takes hold of it, going downward. And that is the simplest way for me to basically give you a beginner's rundown of how to do folds. We can do more advanced ones, such as when I was talking about like the drapes kind of falling onto each other and kind of the way it kind of like, the way I can think of it is just like the ooze, the way it kind of like sticks to each other and creates these weird like designs. But we can go into that another day if that is your wish. So please let me know what you think of this over here. And with the tutorial out of the way, we are going to move into the question of the week. And that is, people have been asking me how many thumbnails do I usually like to do when I'm doing the splashes over at Riot. And it just so happens that I happen to have some old PSDs of when I was working on Sejuani and Ziggs. So the best way for me to talk about this is, usually what I like to do is when I start the drawing, I have the champion, right? I have the, basically just like a screen cap of him, his 3D model, and how he's going to look in the game. So the first thing I like to do is sort of a character study, as you can see right here on the left. And what I like to do is, this is basically a chance for me to get comfortable with drawing the character in my style. And I don't know why the screen is flickering black like that, but it should not be doing that. Stop it. So as you can see, I just go through and I draw out a few poses, kind of get comfortable with how this is going to work. And as far as how many poses, thumbnails, and stuff you should do for each character, I would say 10 is a good amount. But as of late, I've been really trying to shoot for like 20, maybe even 30. So as you can see, I did the same thing here with Ziggs, right? I drew him kind of in my style and be like, oh, okay, this guy's pretty cool. I could see how I could, kind of get comfortable with him. And then I started drawing out these thumbnails here. And then I also did some other ones here. So I really like this one right here. That one was one of my favorites. But yeah, as you can see, basically all it comes down to is if you have the idea or a variation on an idea, you should just draw it. Because it's going to give you and the people who are looking at your work more choices, and in the end, it's just going to contribute to creating a better piece overall. So, yes, make as many thumbnails as humanly possible. Well, I mean, as many as that are good ideas. So yeah, I usually shoot for about 10 to 20. So now we will move into the question to the audience. And it is a very sort of off-topic question, you could say, but at work, I've been noticing that there have been a variety of smells going around, and good ones, mind you. And I said to myself, I must have this power, this intoxicating aroma, specifically with the girls. But, I mean, I want same thing except for me. So, my question to you is, what is some of your favorite type of men's cologne that you have smelled or that you have yourself? And which would you recommend to me? Because I'm personally getting tired of this Abercrombie Hollister crap, and I want something a little bit nicer. So, yeah, let me know what you dig and put it in the comments below. And with that, I think that wraps up our Knkl Show episode 30. Once again, I would encourage you to check out the Facebook, check out the Bravo Ray, and check out the Twitter. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I am Keenan Lafferty, and I will see you guys next week.